My next guest is going to be taking on another Canadian. He's taking on Gavin Tucker at UFC 256 on December 12th. Is Billy Quarantillo back here on the program. Billy, how's it going?
I'm doing great, James. Thanks for having me, my guy.
It's great to talk to you. And new and improved setup. For those who don't know, when did you set all this up? It looks really good.
I set it up probably about 2-3 months ago, where I basically got a new computer, got the headset. I've been doing a lot of commentary for SFT. They're a Brazilian show, and they basically gave me a great opportunity to do the commentary and right from my house. And I do a lot of interviews, so it's I've kind of put it together piece by piece, and it's a really nice setup. And I've really been enjoying doing the interviews right from home here.
Yeah, no, I've been sort of doing this for a while. I made a job out of it, which is really cool. So that's awesome. You've invested in that. How did it come together with you working for that Brazilian promotion? I had no idea about that.
Yeah, so it's been great, and who knows where that could lead, but I've just been having a great time. They pay me really well. It actually started with my buddy Jay Adams, who used to commentate a lot of my fights, like these local fights in Florida that I had, and he basically reached out to me. They were a guy short, and he's like, we don't really have a big budget for it, but if you're interested to get the experience, let's do it. And so what they're doing now, because this whole COVID thing, everyone's been affected. The shows are in Brazil, and they're usually in Portuguese, but they have a huge English audience. So they basically needed two guys. They needed a commentary crew to do the English version. And sure enough, we did the first show, and they were really impressed with me. I don't know why, but they liked it. And just from there, they put me on the salary, and I've done about 4 shows since, and it's been great. There's a lot of talented fighters in Brazil, and every fight I've watched has just been great. They do a great job with the promotion, and hopefully I'll be with them for a while and kind of venture off from there.
No, that's smart. And like I said, investing into things outside of fighting can never be a bad option. So that's cool. I have to check out the commentary stuff as well. Cause that's, it's
for sure.
Tough.
I'll send you a link.
Yeah, no, do it. Cause I do commentary as well, like, for local promotion here, called Rise FC. That's actually where Tristan Connolly won. That was the fight he won to get in the UFC. So,
awesome.
So yeah, it's kind of cool there. So I have a lot of respect for commentators cause it's a tough job. But let's talk about Gavin Tucker, man. This is a great fight. I love the fact that both you guys kind of wanted this. It sort of came together. How long have you known about the matchup?
Well, so originally he was my COVID matchup. We got booked to fight each other in April, and so we had the contract and everything. We were supposed to fight in Nebraska, and that obviously fell through. And within a couple weeks of that, they were, they're like, if you're healthy, if you're good to go, we can still get you in there. And, after putting money down on a house, I really needed the money, and I just love to fight. I wasn't really as worried as maybe I should have been. So I took another fight and fought the Alpha Ginger, was able to get the win there. He got matched up and he won his fight. And after his fight, he basically said he still wanted to fight me. At that point, I was matched up with Kyle Nelson. So in the back of my mind, I was always going to eventually fight Gavin Tucker. We were going to meet each other. And sure enough, I got the win against Kyle Nelson. Gavin Tucker reminded me that we still had plans to fight each other, and I couldn't have been happier with it. I didn't want to look past Kyle, because Kyle's a very tough fighter, and I was able to get the win there. And now it's Gavin's turn. So I've known about him since April, and now I basically said, this is a lot bigger of a fight now, because he was 2-1, I was 1-0, and now I'm 3-0 and he's 3-1. So I think it's a lot bigger of a fight. So I basically just told the UFC, put us on a big card, put us on a pay-per-view, and they obliged. So now here we go. Let's do it.
Yeah, good things come to people who ask for things, I guess. You should buy a lottery ticket or something. Everything's working
exactly.
out. So.
It couldn't hurt to ask. And, I fought on 3 fight nights already. So I figured, why not ask? And here we are, on a big, strong pay-per-view to close out the year right before Christmas. And I can't wait. I'm super excited for this one.
Style-wise, how do you feel like you match up against him in this?
I love it. I love stylistically, he's a very good fighter. He moves around a lot. It was something we were game planning for in April. He's another really tough guy. Obviously I want to go out there and I would love to go and get an early finish, but I'm prepared for 15 hard minutes. If I got to drag him into deep waters, I know my conditioning's the best it's ever been right now. So would love a quick finish. I'm very explosive. I've been working a lot with my strength and conditioning coaches. Shout out to Driven. They have really been helping me the last few years. So I'm looking to finish him, and him having, he's 12-1 and he's never been finished before. That excites me so much, because I definitely, I love to try to prove people wrong and go out there and do something that no one's been able to do before. A lot of people have been hitting me up. A lot of Canadians have hit me up and said he's, kind of like the pride of Canada, the pride of I think Nova Scotia is where he's from, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a big fight, and I've actually gained a lot of Canadian fans. So shout out to my Canadian fans. I've a lot of respect for all their fighters, and I appreciate all the fans that have reached out to me.
Yeah, and you might as well be Canadian. You're a nice guy. It's and you're very interactive on Twitter, which I love. Like, I love how you're very immersed in the community as well, because I think that's so important for a fighter to be very accessible. Because a lot of fighters, some of them are like, oh, I don't do social media, and it's like, I think you're missing out, right? I know for you it's important.
I completely agree. Yeah, I completely agree, especially on fight nights. And days like that where, the fights are going on, everyone's watching the fights anyway. When I'm in training camp, it's not like I can go to the bars and party anyway. So I'm at home hanging out, and I love interacting with the fans because, the more people that get to know me, then they watch me fight and they're a little more invested in it. It's just a way to grow my own profile and get out there, because we're going to fight either way. But if no one cares about the fight, you're not gonna make it to the top, and that's definitely my plan. I plan on being in the UFC for a long time, and chasing that world championship.
Training camp, how's that looking for this fight? Who are you getting to work with?
Oh, it's been great. It's the same old crew. I got my head coach Matt Arroyo, who's cornered me in every single fight. My striking coach Dan Rawlings, who I actually just got done with. That's why we had to start a little later today. Appreciate you waiting for me.
Oh, all good. It actually worked out better for me because I don't know if you saw the Chimaev fights off, so I had to do a quick video on that.
I just saw that, and let me say, man, I actually have my COVID test right here.
Yeah.
They sent it to me, and I couldn't be more nervous to take it. I feel great, but I'm super nervous, just like everyone, man, because these fights are dropping like flies.
Yeah.
But besides that, Matt Frivola, one of my main training partners, he flew down here again. He's got a big fight January 23rd in probably Fight Island. So we're kind of helping each other get ready, and we've been helping each other since 2010. So that's always important having him, and it's always good. We give each other really good looks.
Excellent. And your weight cut, I imagine that's going well. We just had Thanksgiving. You avoided all the turkey or what?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because this is probably the first time. I mean, it's always been like that, but now that I'm a little more in the public eye, I had so many people hit me up and they're like, "Oh man, make sure you're not eating too much. Don't eat any dessert." And I'm
probably
like,
people betting on you more than anything, right? So.
I probably, but I'm like, man, I've been in training camp probably the last the last 5 Thanksgivings, and so we always go to my in-laws, my my fiance's parents, and I basically. I worked out in the morning, ate a nice little meal, nothing too crazy, and my weight's good. With the amount of money you can lose to miss weight, man, I'll die in there before I give up that 20-30%.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. How's the fight playing out on the 12th? You mentioned how durable Tucker is. Are you expecting kind of a 3-round war, or how do you anticipate the fight playing out?
Yeah, deep down I am. I'm expecting a 3-round war, and you always want to get a finish. If I'm able to go and get a big, dominant decision win, I'll take it, but I definitely want to finish him. I want to be the first one to take him out. He's looked great in his last few fights. He's looked really good. I know he trains with Faraz and all those guys, which is that's another thing that really excites me. Going against one of the best fighters in the world, one of the best camps in the world. I know he's got a big manager. He always tags Sucker Punch, and I think his name's Brian. So these are the fights that I've always got excited for. I remember as a pro when I would fight certain guys that I knew I matched up really well with, it didn't excite me as much because I kind of thought I could just go in there and I felt like I was the big favorite anyway. And I've seen some odds on this fight where I'm a slight underdog, so that also really excites me. And a big win over Gavin Tucker, propels me into that top 15, top 20 range. And then they basically have to, give me a fight against a ranked opponent. Before
we go, I saw you did a big Black Friday purchase with Barstool. You were telling me off air that you've been a fan for a while, for a very long time. So, what do you like the most on there, and what did you end up buying? I didn't even ask.
Yeah, so it's a funny story. I think it's really cool how far. So I basically moved to Tampa in 2010, and I started hanging out with Matt Frivola, and his brother actually told us about Barstool Sports. And so I would go check them out casually. Like, they had some stuff they did back in the day. This was at 2010, and they would do some stuff that we just thought was funny. They had their parties and stuff like that. And I always thought Big Cat and El Prez were just super funny. And then I actually got a job at this law office, and I had it was actually a guy I trained with, so he really didn't make me do too much work, and we would basically just be on a computer all day. But there was no websites you could go to, so you couldn't go to a UFC website, or you couldn't go to blogs and stuff like that. But somehow Barstool Sports wasn't on that list. You know what I mean? So I was able to basically, when I would go into work, I would have nothing to do all day. So I would just go to Barstool Sports and look at all their articles and stuff like that. And I worked there for a year and a half, 2 years. So I would look at their website literally every single day at this job that I basically didn't really have much to do anyway. So I would follow them throughout there. And then as they grew, I got really busy. I would be doing other stuff, and I would still follow up with them because I really I like the premise. I like, obviously their personalities. And so long story short, when I fought Spike Carlisle, one of their MMA reporters, Robbie Fox, I was going through his thing, and he basically picked Spike to beat me. And he was like, "Oh man, I wouldn't fight."
I remember this actually. Yeah. I remember seeing, because I follow both of you, so that's cool.
Yeah. And so he was like, I wouldn't want to fight this Spike guy, and he didn't know anything about me. So after I beat Spike, I went back to his article, and I'm like, yo, man, that was messed up. I've been following Barstool forever and supporting you guys. And I thought it was really cool. He definitely didn't have to do this because it's a pretty big platform. He was like, oh, man, I didn't know. My bad. And he ended up interviewing me after, and he actually sent me a couple T-shirts. So I just thought that was really cool. It was something he didn't have to do. So shout out to Robbie Fox and all the Barstool guys. I've been supporting them for a long time. And I just think it's really cool that, I've been following that site, and they actually have interviewed me now a couple times, and he sent me some gear that I rock proudly. And of course, right now with COVID, everyone's taking a hit right now, every company. So it was the least I could do. I bought a hoodie and a t-shirt and a hat, and I'll rock it proudly because I do he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to support me, and he did. And so now I'll continue supporting them, for a very long time.
Billy, can't thank you enough for doing this, man. It's always great catching up with you. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you have any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours, man.
Of course, man. Billy Q MMA on Instagram and Twitter. I'm a lot more active on Instagram and Twitter than any other social media. I want to thank No Judges Needed. They actually just gave me. They're always rocking me. They're another company that has just been supporting me since before I was anyone. You too, James. I know you've been supporting me since my Contender Series days. So I'll always try to look out for the people that invested in me when they really didn't have to. So just thank you, for all of that. And of course, December 12th, me and Gavin Tucker, we're looking to steal the show, and I'm going to do everything I can to get that Performance of the Night bonus.